Hi guys, I am back today with another video. Today's video is going to be really fun to film because it's going to be, guess what? I'll give you some hints. That's right guys, it is going to be a Friends video where I talk about why I like it so much. Wait, no. Why I love it so much. I have been obsessed with it for almost 4 months. I started watching it on December 9th. I remember the exact day because I researched it and I heard rumor it was that they would take Friends off of Netflix on New Year's, and it's still on Netflix, so that clearly did not happen. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll get through and binge watch it before they take it off. But then they didn't, so I ended up watching 2 seasons in exactly 1 week. I finished the whole series at the end of January, so it only took me a month and a half to watch the whole thing, which, considering there's 236 episodes, I pretty much did it in a short amount of time. So, once I get into a show that I really love, I will want to talk about it with people to share my ideas and opinions on it. And this show has been popular since it first aired, like 1994. This year will be its 25th anniversary. That is a long time ago. Not as long ago as but long ago, but still a while. The show ended in 2004, which is the year that I was born. So it's been over for 15 years now, and it is still a hit. There are still reruns on, I don't know what channel it is. I'm actually rewatching it again for the second time, and I'll probably rewatch it like 100 more times. I'll probably still be like 50 years old and watching it and being like, oh my goodness, I started watching this show when I was 14 and I'm still watching it. But I hope they don't take it off Netflix by then. I will find some other way if it's not still doing reruns on the channel. So anyways, I don't want to make this intro too long. It's already been about 3 minutes. So I'm going to start now so we can get rolling. In this video, I will talk about a few different things. I will talk about my favorite season and why, my least favorite season and why it is, why I like each character. I will talk about my favorite season and why, my least favorite season and why it is, why I like each character, my favorite episode from each season, talking about the characters' relationships and friendships with each other, which characters that weren't main characters that I liked and appeared more, and my opinions on those characters, and probably talking about more, but those were the ones at the top of my head. So that's at least 6 or 7 different categories that I'll be talking about. So I'm gonna get on to the video now. So let's get going. I'm weird, guys. We've already talked about this in one of my previous videos. I do a lot of things with my hands, so don't want to stall you, so I'm just gonna go. Okay, so I will first tell you what my favorite season is and why it is my favorite season. Actually, there's 2 of my favorite seasons, which are Season 2 and Season 5. Season 5 is the best season in the whole entire series. I like so many of the episodes. I don't think I dislike any of the episodes in Season 5. And I like Season 5 because it's Chandler and Monica's beginning their relationship, and I like Season 5 because it's Chandler and Monica's beginning their relationship, because at the very last episode of Season 4 in London, they got together, and for the first half of Season 5, they are trying to hide their relationship from the friends. Except Joey finds out first, but all of the friends do not know until, I forgot what it's called, where everybody finds out, something like that. But Rachel actually does find out a couple episodes before Ross and Phoebe do, but it's just so funny. Like, Chandler has to cover it up by kissing both Rachel and Phoebe to cover up his kiss with Monica. And then in the New Year's episode, Joey like knew about it already, so he had to make everybody kiss so that Chandler and Monica's wouldn't look like it was they were actually together. It would just be like, oh, it's New Year's, let's kiss. So that was pretty funny. And then Joey's reaction when he found out was hilarious. He was like, so yeah. And season 2 is my favorite because it's also the season I don't have too many episodes that I don't like. Well, actually, there's not a lot of episodes that I don't like in the whole entire series, except for some, but season 2 is just another funny season. And also, it's where Ross and Rachel's relationship first blossoms. And then in season 2, at the beginning, he has to decide whether he wants Julie or Rachel because he's still in love with Rachel. He just tries to move on because he doesn't think that Rachel reciprocates the feelings. But he's also too much of a chicken to tell her. And she ended up finding out by Chandler, who accidentally slipped it on her birthday party. And then she goes to the airport, which is very sweet. But then Ross comes home with Julie. And Julie, she was sweet and all, but Ross is Rachel's lobster, so, like, go away, Julie. But she was nice, so I don't have anything against her. And then another reason why season 2 is my favorite is because Joey and Chandler's hair is on fleek. I will show you a picture. It's right here. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about my favorite seasons. I'll be going on to the next topic. So this is actually still in the same category as seasons. So my least favorite seasons are season 1 and season 9. Season 1 is because Rachel still has not adapted to the city life and she's still kind of reliant for money and stuff, even though she cut up her parents' credit cards that they provided for her. So she's like, she got a job at the coffee house, which she does not enjoy at all. And it's kind of like, she got a job at the coffee house, which she does not enjoy at all. And not satisfying to see her in a job that she doesn't like when she's trying to be out on her own. But then people have jobs that they don't really like. They just have to start with a basic job and then get going higher up. But anyways, Rachel dates Paolo and he was disgusting little animal. So Ross is in love with Rachel, is madly in love with Rachel. Rachel doesn't seem to reciprocate the feelings. And Ross is crazy jealous of Paolo, and we're like, get together. But, yeah, and then at the end of this season, she finally knows that Ross likes her, just like I stated in the previous clip. And anyways, season 1 wasn't really interesting because it was like the introduction and didn't have very much of a plot, I guess. And then season 9, I didn't like it because Ross and Rachel, after Rachel was living with Joey, I don't know, she moved out and decided that since they had a baby together, it would be easier if they both lived together. But it was weird because they lived together, but they weren't actually together, so it was just really awkward. That's one of the reasons why I didn't like that season, because of the awkwardness, and like, maybe they should just get together because that would be good. And then again, the episodes just weren't as interesting as episodes from other seasons. I still like that season. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying it's my least favorite. I like all the seasons of Friends. And then another reason why I don't like it is because I honestly do not ship Phoebe and Mike that much. I know it's like Endgame and stuff, and I know a lot of people ship it, and don't hate me for not shipping it, but I did ship her with David Decides This Guy way better. So the next category I will be talking about is why I like each of the main characters. So I'm going to start off with Rachel Green. Each character has flaws, and Rachel, I think some of her good qualities is that she gives good advice, she is caring, and she will give you nice presents. Like, she will go out and buy you some presents. She has amazing fashion sense. Like, I love her style so much. And she became a strong and independent woman from at the beginning of season 1. She was kind of bratty and she was rich because she always depended on her parents for money, but she cut their credit cards and started on her own. And I think that was a very inspiring story, from changing to a daddy's girl to an independent woman with a good job that she loves, kids. And then Monica Geller, she wants the best for her friends. Also, she will clean your house and treat you special, like Hotel Monica, for example. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but also kind of nice at the same time. And she puts a lot of effort to make events special, like Rachel's birthday party. She wanted everything to be perfect, even though they just wanted to have fun. But deep down inside, she just wants everything to be special, but even though they didn't want that, but she just has a heart of gold, you know, like, it's just Monica. Different people will have their flaws and their good qualities. Phoebe Buffet, I like how she has a free spirit. She's not afraid to be who she is, very confident. She's weird and quirky, but she doesn't hide it at all. Sometimes she has no filter and she can spill things that aren't really appropriate, but that's just Phoebe. One of her flaws is that she can't control, and sometimes she's a little overconfident, if that's even a thing, but I think you know what I mean. But I just love how she's so amazing and funny. She's my favorite girl main character. So Ross Geller, he is very smart, as you know. He's like the smartest of all the characters combined, maybe. I don't know. And he's caring, and when he gets into funny situations, like when he got 2 tans, the one where Ross is fine when he was totally not fine with Joey and Rachel's relationship, and he was dating Charlie. That whole dinner fiasco was so hilarious. And then the one where he got stuck in leather pants that didn't fit him, and he tried to make them like slippery so he could get back into the pants, and then the lotion and the powder or whatever made a paste, and that was from Joey's advice, and he's like, whatever. That was really funny. And then the sandwich, you ate my sandwich, that was really funny. And then there's been a ton of others, I just can't keep track of all of them, but he's really funny. Chandler Bang, well, we know he has a sense of humor. He's very sarcastic, and one of his flaws is that sometimes he goes overboard with his jokes, like he needs to tone it down just a little sometimes. But without being funny, he would not be Chandler Bang. But he's also sweet, and yeah, and he also gets into funny situations too, and he's just a very funny Bang. And the last one is Joey Tribbiani. He doesn't care what people think of him. He's very childish and immature, but sometimes it's okay to let out your inner child. But one of his flaws is that he's very dumb. Like, sometimes it's like, I feel like the other characters in many different situations and episodes, they've gotten annoyed with him because he is like, what happened to your brain? Like, sometimes he's just too dumb. But he's lovable and cute and charming and all that. And sometimes he gives weird advice that actually makes sense, like the moo point. It's a cow's opinion. It doesn't matter. That was very, very funny, if you remember that. And then he has given a lot of advice over the seasons, but I just can't keep up with it all. That's the only one that I actually remember. And he's a terrible actor, but he must not be too terrible because he's had luck with auditions and stuff, so I don't know. Anyways, that is category number 3. Now I'll be moving on to characters, relationships, and friendships. So I'm just going to start with my number 1 couple of the whole entire series. Is not just my favorite couple, but is the number 1 couple out of everybody who's watched it. I know that as a fact. So it is the ship name of Monica and Chandler. Yeah, I have a lot to say about their relationship. Let's just start with the fact that they are a very, very, very cute. I love it so much, and I'm glad it happened because originally it was gonna be Monica and Joey that were the main couple of the show, and that would not have been as good. Like, I'm so glad that the casting people or scriptwriters or whoever changed it, I'm glad that they did because that was a lifesaver. Thank you so much, people. So anyways, in the earlier seasons, there was like giving like hints that they might become a couple. And so in season 1, it showed them like sitting together at the coffee house and they would be talking and stuff. And then the first obvious hint that they might become a couple in the later seasons is that at the end of season 3, when they went to the beach trip, Monica and Chandler and Joey were at the beach, and Monica and Chandler were sitting out on the sand talking, and Chandler was asking if he and she were the only people left on the earth, would you date me? And she didn't seem so sure, but since the fact that Chandler was even asking that question might have to do with the fact that he sees Monica as a potential girlfriend, and he was asking her to see if she might think of him as a good boyfriend, because I think he might have liked Monica, because he's like, out of all the friends he seemed to care about her a lot, and yeah, he called her pretty. And then even in the flashbacks, like with the Thanksgiving one, he's like flirting with her, and there was just some subtle and obvious hints that they could get together in the later seasons. So anyways, I'm going to move on with why I love their relationship. So I'm so glad they got together in the London episode, which was season 4, episode 24. It was the very end of season 4. And then in season 5, they were hiding their relationship from everybody, and that was hilarious. And then when they all found out, and Chandler realized that he fell in love with Monica, Monica changed Chandler for the better. Again, with the story from Rachel changing, Chandler also changed throughout the series, and it was because of Monica. Monica made him realize what love really is, and he cared for her so deeply that he finally knew that he was in love. And we would have never thought that he would get married ever because of his commitment issues, but then Monica came along, and they got married, and Chandler was the one who proposed to her, so that was even more of a surprise. But that is a very, very good relationship. It was really unexpected for me at first, but then I didn't know what to think about it. Like in the London episode when they woke up together, I was like, oh my goodness, I did not expect that. So anyways, my conclusion is that Mondler is the best pairing through the whole entire show. There's no doubt about that at all. So now I'm going to move to the relationship called the Rostrel, which is the shit name for Ross and Rachel. It is definitely not as good as Mondler's relationship, but they are one of the other main relationships. They were on and off. I do this for on and off because they dated halfway through season 2, which was the episode The Prom Video. Well, they did start dating a few episodes before that, but then Ross decided to make the list, and then Rachel was mad. But then she came to her senses and realized that after watching the Prom Video, she was like, Ross really cares about me, and then she went over to him and kissed him, and that was so sweet. So the off and on thing is because they broke up a season later in season 3, episode 15 or 16, and that is because Ross slept with Chloe because they got into a fight because Ross was being a little bit too clingy. Well, part of that isn't his fault. Rachel was at work a lot, and he felt like they weren't spending enough time together, so he brought the picnic down to work, and he also thought that Rachel was going to cheat on him with Mark, but those were the reasons that they were going to break up. So, anyways, they broke up because of that, And they did not date until season 10. Well, they didn't even really date. They just realized that they loved each other at the end of season 10. So they really only dated for one full season, the middle of season 2 to the middle of season 3, because that's one full season. Anyways, they dated for a year, broke up, and did not get back together until the very end of season 10. So they didn't really date that much, and their relationship was honestly kind of toxic because they were always fighting more than actually like being coupley. Like, they had a good friendship. I shipped their friendship, but I honestly don't know if I really shipped their relationship. Yes, they might have been in love, but there was a bunch of I don't know how I feel about the relationship, honestly. And sorry if my explanations are not that great. I don't know. But another thing I noticed on the internet that it says in like discussions or posts about their relationship on Instagram, I agree with this. That Ross only seemed to be in love with or like Ross when he was in a relationship with somebody else. Like, with it, she did not really seem that interested in him from season 3 on, unless he was in a relationship. And Ross, he was always into Rachel, even if she was single or taken, but Rachel was into him only, I feel like, when he was in a relationship. For example, Emily, Mona, Charlie. I can't really think of any other girls that Ross has dated because not really good at getting girls, unlike Joey, the ladies' man. Emily, and the girl Bonnie, the bald girl. And then season 8, when she was pregnant with his baby, she was like kind of jealous. She did not want Ross to date anybody. However, she wanted to date other people, so it was kind of unfair. So it wasn't just Ross's fault for being too clingy. It was also her for only being into him when he was trying to move on from her. And their relationship was kind of toxic. And then also Ross didn't get the annulment because he didn't want to have a third failed marriage. That's not the reason why you should stay with somebody. But honestly, when they get into funny situations like the annulment and getting married drunkenly in Vegas, those situations between them were funny. I really ship their friendship, and I ship part of their relationship, that they're happy together, but I don't ship the whole being jealous and not letting people date and then only liking people when they're together. That I just don't really like that. So I've said a lot about Ross Joel, so I'm going to get on to the next pairing. The last romantic pairing between the group, the 6 friends, is Rowie and... See, I'm just going to start with this. So after Monica and Chandler got together, Rachel had to move out because, well, they were a couple and they were going to be doing stuff. So Rachel had to move out, and she moved to Phoebe's. But then after a while, the house burned down in season 6. But yeah, one of them had to move in with Joey, and it was going to be whoever's fault it was. At first, they thought it was Phoebe's because she uses candles for her, like, meditating stuff. I don't even know. So Joey showed her where stuff was, and it was really messy because the pizza was on the floor and then the napkin. But then the firemen discovered that the cause of the fire was a hair straightener or curler, and Phoebe doesn't use one, so it was Rachel. So then they switched places, and Rachel had to live with Joey. And then the other one, whose fault it wasn't, was gonna live with Monica until they got a new house. But so Phoebe was with Monica, and then they tried to switch places because they both wanted to be at Joey's because no one wanted to be at Monica's. So that was really funny. So in season 8, Rachel went on a date with Joey. It was just as friends. They went on a date as friends, but Joey ended up having sudden, immediate feelings for Rachel, and then they kept getting bigger and bigger to the point where he was in love with her. I don't know if he actually was in love with her, because he seemed to move on with his crush quickly, because he's not one to settle down. He's kind of like girl, girl, girl. Yeah. But they didn't date till season 10, and it said they only dated for a week. In Barbados, they became a couple, and a few episodes later, in season 10, episode 3, the one with Ross's tan, they tried to do stuff, but they couldn't get past it because they decided they were better off as just friends, which I agree with that. I did not like their relationship, but I loved their friendship, and I was like, break up, break up, break up. And then they're like, we should just be friends. I was like, yes, because I love them as friends so much. I'm so glad that they weren't the end game couple. But they also really supported each other with their careers and stuff. And Rachel was like very, very supportive. Like, she was one of the most supportive friends, other than Phoebe. She and Phoebe are like the most supportive ones. So, yeah. Now we're going to move on to main characters dating another person outside of the group. So we're going to do Monchard, which is the relationship pairing of Monica and Richard. I did not mind their relationship. They seemed in love. The age gap was a problem, and that's what broke them up, because Monica was like, I want to have kids, but I don't want to have kids with someone who feels like they have to, but doesn't really want to. The age gap problem was because Richard already had a son, but since Monica is 30 and he is 50, the age gap was 21 years, so like 30 and 51 or whatever. And he said that he didn't want his kids going off to college by the time he was 70, and that is a good point, Richard. But I ship Mondler way, way better. And another weird part of that is because when Joey and Chandler were bonding with Richard, they ended up thinking of him as a dad rather than a friend and part of their group. So that was weird, because Richard is old enough that he could be their dad. So that was a weird part. But Richard was a nice guy, and he really did care about Monica. And another weird thing is that it's Monica's dad's like one of his best friends, so that's another weird thing to see. So I'm gonna move on. The next relationship is Remily, Ross and Emily. This relationship was toxic, way more toxic than Ross and Rachel's relationship. So I'm just gonna start. Okay, so this relationship started in the episode Joey's Dirty Day. They didn't date right away. Well, they did, but not in this episode. So Rachel promised to take her boss's niece, Emily, to the wedding, I believe. But then Joshua asked her to come to his work thing. So Rachel tries to get out of taking Emily to the thing and asks Ross to do it. And Ross says, sure. So then Emily and Ross apparently end up in Vermont at a bed and breakfast, which is really weird because they had only known each other for one day, and they went off to another state, and Rachel was like kind of upset about this. But they ended up getting married 6 weeks after dating, and things just went downhill from there because Ross said take the wrong name at the altar. Yeah, take the Rachel. Yeah, things just went down south. But Emily was manipulative and selfish, and she didn't want Ross to be in the same room as Rachel, which I can see where she's coming from, but she should know that they're best friends, and maybe that Ross shouldn't have tried to make things work with Emily. He should have just not even thought about cutting ties with Rachel, just because he doesn't want to have a failed marriage. I mean, he wasn't even that in love with Emily. He got married after 6 weeks of knowing her, yeah, but he was just trying to get over Rachel. He never really stopped loving Rachel at all. It's obvious. Now I'm going to talk about Rachel and Paolo. So their relationship wasn't as so much emotional feelings for each other. It was mostly just a physical relationship. But Ross is insanely jealous because that is the season 1, and Rachel is not aware of his feelings for her. So she's totally oblivious to the fact that Ross is head over heels in love with her. And she dates Paolo. And he doesn't even speak English, first of all, so can't even understand what he says. So that's not really a good relationship if you don't understand the language. Yeah, that's really hard. And she doesn't find out that Ross has a crush on her until the end of season 1. When Chandler accidentally slips it out at her birthday party because Ross is too much of a chicken to tell her. I think I actually said that a little earlier in this video, but I'm sorry for if I was repeating things. I do that a lot. So now I'm talking about Phoebe and Mike. I ship her a lot better with David, the scientist guy. And it was weird how he was introduced into the show. His first appearance was in season 9, episode 3, the one with the pediatrician, when Joey and Phoebe are setting up blind dates for each other, and Joey tells her that the name of her date is Mike. So then he has to find an actual Mike. So he goes to the coffee house and calls out Mike. And there, luckily, is one there. And that's how he appears in the show. He's played by Paul Rudd, by the way. But Mike was pretty sweet, but, like, he was kind of boring, honestly. I would have rather her ended up with David, the scientist guy. And then when David shows up from Minsk and Mike is over, then Phoebe's like, oh my goodness, they're both here. I wish that she would have blown Mike off and been like, actually, I'm still in love with David. I'm really sorry. And then they get together. I really wish that they would be endgame. Because they had known each other longer, and they seemed more in love, honestly. Yeah. It's really heartbreaking. And then there was, like, apparently David was in Barbados, and there was a little bit of conflict between them. So now I'm going to talk about Chandler or Janice, or the ship name between, I guess you can guess this, Janice and Chandler. So I clearly ship Mondler more. Obviously. Chandler dated her like 3 or 4 different times because each time when he broke up with her, he would get too freaked out because she would get really sad and upset and like, oh my goodness. Yeah, she would get really shaky and freaked out, and then Chandler would be nervous, so he would just say, call me, and then he would say we should go out again, just like he does a lot. This is because he has commitment issues. He really just wants someone to love him, even if he might not love them really back. He just has a hard time loving people, but he just wants to be loved, because who doesn't want to be loved? So he needs someone to love him. And Janice is off may be annoying, and just her presence, but she's honestly really caring and sweet. She genuinely cares for Chandler, and Janice is my favorite one of Chandler's girlfriends besides Monica. Like, the others were weird, like Joanna, Aurora, Kathy. I don't know any of his other girlfriends, but those are the ones that I can name off the top of my head. Janice genuinely cared for him, and she was so sweet and caring, and her annoyingness is part of her character. So, yeah. You can't really hate her for being annoying, guys. And the funniest thing is her trying to bond with Joey. Joey, like, sure, the rest of the friends may be annoyed by her presence, but Joey actually hates Janice. Like, the others might just be annoyed with her, but they don't actually really hate her. They just think she's annoying. But Joey cannot stand her more than the others. Like, yeah. One time they went out for Joey and Janice's day of fun, as she called it. And Joey at first was like, oh, we got along so well, like, we should do that again. But I almost fell for that. But he still couldn't stand her, even after that day. But reasons why I don't think that Chandler loved her is I have some evidence. One night when Joey set them up, Joey and him were going on a double date with these 2 women. And Joey got the pretty one, Chandler got the mess, as they said. And so then we found out her identity, and it was Janice. And she was like,
Janice? Oh my God.
But they don't have fun on the Valentine's date that Joey set up until they steal his credit card. They're like not talking to each other at all, but then they're like, stupid man who left his credit card. So they order an expensive bottle of wine and expensive food, and then they wake up in bed together the next morning, and Chandler is totally freaked out by this. He didn't want to. They just, I guess they had too much to drink or something. But he seems super annoyed with her. And another piece of evidence that is why I think Chandler didn't really love her is because he lied to her and pretended that he was going to move to Yemen in one of the seasons. It seemed like their relationship was so good. But then he was like totally annoyed by her and they didn't even really stay friends. So that was weird, even though she's a really caring person. She was just annoying, and I guess that flaw came out more than her genuine good traits, which is kind of sad for her. And those are all my relationships with a main character and one of their main relationships outside of the friend group, except for Joey. I can't really think of any big relationships that Joey's had. He doesn't really have any. He just has a bunch of like dates or flings throughout the series, so I don't really have anything for him. Oh wait, I'll just talk about Janine, his roommate that he was immediately attracted to, and that it could have gone somewhere, but then it was like perfect. She was hot, she seemed sweet, she was a dancer, but then she did not like Chandler or Monica because Chandler was blah, as she said, and Monica was too loud. So he broke up with her because friends over boyfriend and girlfriend. Because friends are for life, and boyfriends and girlfriends come and go. Unless you find a relationship and then you get married and stuff, but you know what I mean. What are my opinions on some non-main characters? So my opinion on Janice, as I said, annoying but caring and weird. Then Pete, one of Monica's other relationships, I did not like him. He was no good for Monica. He's rich and he is motivated because he wants to be the ultimate fighting champion. But he is so motivated that even after getting hurt so badly, he wants to continue. Honestly, I would not continue after that. But Monica's like, I can't be with you because she doesn't want to date somebody who's gonna like be injured for life. Like, he could get paralyzed or seriously injured. Gunther, he's weird, creepy, and obsessive. Weird because of his crush on Rachel. Creepy because of his creepy crush on Rachel. Obsessive because of his crush on Rachel. Weird, creepy, and obsessive. All of those three traits have to do with the fact that he is creepy about his crush on Rachel. Like, when he makes comments about how he wants Ross to break up with Rachel when they're in the coffee house at the beginning of the seasons, and then when they're not dating, he's like really excited about that. That is why Gunther told Rachel that Ross had slept with Chloe, the Xerox girl, because he wanted them to break up, so he would do anything to get Ross to break up with Rachel. Gunther told Rachel because he just couldn't keep it in. He says some stuff to the friends that give hints that he likes Rachel. He had a crush on her from the moment that she came into the coffee house. And it's only a physical attraction because she doesn't actually know Rachel. Well, he does, because when Rachel worked at the coffee house at the beginning, he kind of got to know her. Not really, it was just her boss. But that's one of the reasons why he didn't want her to leave. I think he was like really sad that she quit. So Jack and Judy Geller, they are really inappropriate. Like, in the one with the prom video, there was a clip after that, which is where they were having. And for Jack Geller, Monica and Ross's dad, he is kind of rude and not really respectful sometimes, because in the episode where the Nana dies twice, they have a funeral and Joey turns on the football game, and Jack is one of the ones who watches it. And I believe it's his mom, like, not Judy's mom, but I think it's Jack's mom. I don't even really know, but yeah. And also another one is that they favor Ross over Monica, and it has to do with that. Ross has had more accomplishments in school, like getting many trophies and stuff, and Monica was really fat as a child, so they favored Ross over Monica. But they make it up to her by Jack gives her a Porsche for her birthday, and then Ross is jealous, but he really shouldn't be because he has been favored all these years, and Monica gets something, and then he's like, oh, like, he doesn't really seem to mind that he's favored over Monica. He seems to be like proud of that, instead of like, you should like us both equally. Like, I feel like that's just my opinion. So the sixth category is my favorite episodes. So I'm gonna pick my favorite episode from each season. I haven't watched it enough times yet to have a favorite episode. So I'm gonna tell you my favorite episode from each season. So season 1, my favorite episode is the one with the blackout because Chandler is stuck in an ATM vestibule with Jill Goodacre, and it's really funny because he's not very smooth. He almost chokes on his gum and then spits it out, and first of all, the gum wasn't even his, and then he's just like really awkward. Gum would be perfection. My favorite episode from season 2 was the one with the Super Bowl part 1 and part 2 because Joey has the stalker, but she's really pretty, so he like tries to date her, but she's not just a stalker, she's a freak. She doesn't even know that Dr. Drake Ramore is his character and not really real, and they finally get her to leave when Joey pretends to be the evil twin and then sends her to find the real Dr. Drake Ramore. But then in part 2, Susie Moss from Chandler's 4th grade is in the episode, and he and her go out, but it's really just a trick, so she can get her revenge on him, and it's really funny. I'm saying my season 3 favorite, the one where no one's ready, because they're very late, and Ross is like, oh my goodness, we need to get ready, we have to be there at a certain time, but nobody really cares about his job. Like, he's the least supported of his career because everybody finds his job boring, and they refuse to believe that a paleontologist is a doctor, but it's just a different type of doctor. So my season 4 favorite is probably the one with the embryos because they are having a competition over who gets the apartments. And then the one with the worst best man ever or the London ones. The worst best man ever is my favorite episode from season 4 because Joey almost loses the ring, but really the duck swallowed it. So they're on a search for the ring, and they think that the stripper stole it at first, but she didn't. And they realize that it's the duck when he's making that quacking noise. And then they have like flashbacks of the memories that they had with the duck, thinking that he might not make it, but he comes out alive and not fine. So yeah. Vegas Part 2 was my favorite episode of season 5. I had so much of a hard time picking my episode from season 5. Like, I love every single episode. It's my favorite season of all time. I can't tell you how hard it was to pick my favorite episode, but I just went with Vegas Part 2 because it is where Monica and Chandler almost get married, but then they realize that they shouldn't because you can't make a decision over your dice roll. And then Ross and Rachel get drunkenly married, so that's really hilarious. And then Joey and Phoebe are betting in the casino, and they almost get kicked out. The one with Unagi is my favorite from season 6 because salmon skin roll, and it's just really funny how in the end he thinks he sees Phoebe and Rachel, but it's really 2 girls who look like them, and then he gets chased. That's hilarious. Chandler and Monica's wedding part 2 because that's when they get married, and a couple episodes before that, or the episode before that, Chandler, he runs out because he realized what he's doing, being committed to Monica, and he feels like he doesn't want to, but then realizes that he loves Monica, and it's like, this is the right thing to do. So he's kind of scared at first and runs out, but Monica never really finds out. The one with the Halloween party is my season 8 favorite because their Halloween costumes are ridiculous. Chandler is the Velveteen Rabbit, not really because... So Chandler was a pink bunny because Monica couldn't find the Velveteen Rabbit color bunny. I forgot what it was. I think it was white and brown. I don't really know for sure. So Monica was Catwoman, I feel like. And then Phoebe was Supergirl. And Joey was Chandler. Rachel didn't really go with anybody. She just wore a dress. And then Ross was Sputnik. Because Sputnik was the Russian space guy, and he was a potato, which is called a spud, so he's Sputnik. But Joey referred to him as Duty because obviously he's dumb. So he just called him Duty because he did not know what his costume was called. That was the joke through the whole entire episode, that he went as Duty. Season 9 favorite is probably the one with the memorial service, because Chandler and Ross are getting at each other the whole time on this website where you keep in touch with all your people from college. So I think Chandler started the whole joke by telling him that he has it with dinosaurs, and then Ross retaliates by telling them that Chandler's gay, and then Chandler goes a little too far by posting that Ross has died, and so they throw a fake memorial service for him, and it's really ridiculous. And then at the end, this is the funny part, the girl who's had a crush on Ross, she comes to his memorial service, and then he overhears what she had to say, and he's just heard what she said, and he cannot stay in the closet any longer, so he comes out, and then he's like, "Oh my goodness, I heard what you said. That's really sweet. Maybe we can give it a try." And then she's like, "You sick freak, who does that?" Because they threw a fake memorial service for him, and then she leaves. But he doesn't really care about that. He's just like, she had a crush on me, and he's happy about that. I forgot the name of the girl. And the last season, my favorite episode is either season 10, episode 2, which is the one where Ross is fine, or the one after that, Ross is tan. The one where Ross is fine is my favorite episode because Ross claims that he's fine with Joe and Rachel's relationship, but he's really not fine at all. So he gets drunk when he's invited Charlie and Joe and Rachel over for dinner, and he carries the fajitas without any oven mitts on. And he's like, "Oh, that's gonna hurt tomorrow," but it's just really funny how he reacts to that situation. And then Ross's tan is my favorite because he gets 2 tans because he counts in Mississippi. But he's really supposed to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he got 8 on his front because he got 2 2s, and then he got 2 more 2s. But then his back was not tanned at all, so it was like dark and light. So he looked ridiculous. So that is all I'm going to talk about today. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and comment down below if you're a Friends fan. Tell me what other shows I should do this about. I really like talking about Friends today. I'm sorry if this is not the best quality video. I am kind of tired and my hair is a mess, and I kind of ran out of things to say. I'm sorry if it is too long. I just had a lot to talk about. But also, one more thing I need to add is why I started watching it. They were going to take it off of Netflix on New Year's, it said. So I was trying to get through as much as I could before they took it off Netflix. But luckily, that did not happen. So I got through the whole series, and I'm currently rewatching it. And I bet I'll be 50 years old and still watching the show. It is still popular to this day, and that is so amazing. It's one of the most popular shows in history, I think. So, thank you for watching today's video. I will come back with my next video very soon. Bye!